golfer Scottie Scheffler was on his way, being driven to a golf tournament in Charlotte, when all of a sudden we were seeing that Scottie Scheffler was arrested. A cop was on his car that he was riding in. He was arrested, charged with a felony and 3 misdemeanors, the mugshot, behind bars, the whole deal.
The orange jumpsuit.
The orange jumpsuit, like all of it. And then we found out that because Scottie Scheffler was supposed to be playing in a golf tournament, he was doing some warm-up stretches in a jail cell before the tournament. And somehow or another, because there was a delay in play, he was able to make it back to the golf course and compete. But I can't imagine that your headspace would be
not great.
That great.
Especially with a felony, because that could be years, I'm assuming.
But a felony?
Yeah, and it seemed, when we first saw it, because we weren't there, and
we were watching it as it was happening. There were
this seemed like an overreaction, but we don't know all the details.
We do not, but we do have our official attorney Lisa Lanier on the phone with us to help us break it down, because now we know that all of those charges against Scottie Scheffler have been dropped. Hey, Lisa.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, this has been kind of, I think, something we saw coming, that it seemed like maybe these charges would end up getting dropped. The prosecutor issued a statement in court that said, based on the totality of the evidence, my office cannot move forward with the prosecution of the charges. And he added that Scheffler's characterization of the whole situation as being a big misunderstanding was corroborated by the evidence.
Wow.
And yeah, so, it was pretty powerful. Part of the issue is, that Detective Gillis, and he actually went on to say Detective Gillis did show a concern for public safety, but Detective Gillis did not activate his body cam as he was supposed to. That's protocol. He's been disciplined for that. Mm-hmm. And so that took away an important piece of evidence. They interviewed 2 witnesses who said that, they said that the detective, Gillis, was saying that Scheffler struck him and drug him with his vehicle, and the 2 witnesses said that did not happen. And so I think, when the witnesses, were not favorable to the police officer's version of it, and the body cam wasn't on, where's your evidence? It's all there is none. It's all gone. So that was the main reason. And he was charged with 2nd-degree assault on a police officer, which is a felony, 3rd-degree criminal mischief, reckless driving, and disregard of traffic signals issued by a police officer. And, as it went down, as you guys know, because you watched it, what had happened was that there had been a pedestrian hit and killed out there. And so they were in a situation of, managing a death scene, and traffic was backed up. And the golfers had been told that if there was traffic congestion, to just show their credentials and they would be waved around.
Right.
And there were some accounts that he had been waved around at an earlier point. And there have been some discrepancies about that, but I believe he had been at some point waved around at an earlier point in the congestion. So he was driving on the median, and I think this officer saw him and said, look, this is a death scene. This is a dangerous situation already. You're driving recklessly, and you're not supposed to be doing this. And, I don't know if he, sometimes, I don't know if Scheffler acted, kind of douchey about it or what. He showed his credentials, but whatever it was, it seemed to enrage. Well, he didn't stop right away, for one thing.
Yeah.
So, and it really enraged this detective, and I, don't know that if that was a legitimate reaction or not, but it did pretty much escalate to people. Some people are accusing the detective of grabbing onto the car and, kind of riding it.
That's what I heard, yeah.
Well, and that's what we saw kind of too, that he took the first leap toward the car. And so it was like, wait a second, that's not at all how that was being described, that it went down.
Right, like like Scheffler just hit him with the car. But
right.
I don't blame the officer
he pretty forcibly drugged Scheffler out of the car too. It was like, he was mad, So interesting scenario, but the evidence doesn't support prosecution, and so they've dropped it. And it did seem like it was somewhat of a misunderstanding. But I don't know. The golfer had been told he could be waved around. Still, it was a death scene. And the officer was trying to get him to stop. So maybe not the best judgment on Scheffler's part to disregard what the officer's saying. But not this level, not the level to which it was taken. I don't think.
And Scheffler's not he's obviously the number one golfer in the world, but as far as like face recognition, it's not like it's Tiger Woods. You're like, oh, it's Tiger Woods.
Right, but also not a troublemaker where he's just doing things to blatantly
cause a problem.
Yeah, to act like he's high and mighty and better than everybody else.
Well, it's not one thing when the police officer, oh, okay, you are a golfer, maybe, but he's already mad. But yeah, if you see as a police officer at a death scene a guy driving on the median, you're like, we got to stop this right away.
What is this idiot doing?
Right.
I mean, you're thinking. Yeah.
And it was somebody else, or Scheffler, maybe let's say he was drinking, and he didn't stop it because he was like, maybe it's a golfer, and something else happened. It's a problem too.
Sure.
It's difficult.
It would have been on him. And I guarantee you, I mean, if this had been an African-American person, they would have drug him out and beat the hell out of him.
Oh, boy,
I mean, it was just, he really he was doing something pretty flagrant. You know what I mean? And, driving on the median. And, it's not. But still, it didn't warrant. I mean, I get that the cop was upset, but I don't think the cop handled it well either. So it was kind of all the way around.
Yeah. One of the things that I have been confused about, obviously, my husband is obsessed with golf. And so we've been following the story very heavily. He sends me updates and stuff. But one of my questions is this. Do we know for a fact that, like, put yourself in Scottie Scheffler's shoes for a second, okay? It is very early in the morning. You know that you are scheduled to be on the course or on the putting greens for the tournament to kick off at a certain time.
You're the number one person in your sport.
In your sport at the time.
Yeah.
Well, I just say for people know, it'd be like LeBron James or somebody,
Tom Brady.
Yeah, and the game's getting ready to start,
and you're due to
you're not
be
there,
somewhere.
And it's on TV. You're like, whoa, I got to be there.
And so you're sitting in what? Do we know that he knew that there had been a pedestrian that had been struck and killed, or is he sitting in traffic just like everybody else, thinking like maybe these are fans trying to get into the golf tournament? I need to go around
I can
them.
see that.
Could you, for one moment, put yourself in that in his shoes and think maybe he didn't know?
I've heard accounts that said he didn't know at the time. He did not know. I think he just thought it was traffic.
Yeah.
So, and if you're late, it's like being late for work. I mean, people drive, on the, if you see people a lot where traffic is merging down and they drive over on the side of the interstate where it's still paved a little bit.
Yes.
It's kind of like that kind of thing.
We've all been there, done
I
that.
hate
We've all
people
done that.
who do
I've done
that.
that when I've been late for something, just like, hey, there's a paved area over there. I'm just going to take advantage of it.
Well, that's one thing to like take the pave and then to go get off on an exit. It's another thing when you know that everybody has to merge and those people on the right-hand side will just keep driving.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Oh, it drives
and they cut in front of you.
Really chaps my ass. I don't let them in.
No,
I do not let them in.
The key is not to make eye contact because then they're not human.
Yeah, they pretended like they didn't see me when they just blew past me.
You make eye contact. Then if you're trying to get into traffic, I always try to make eye contact.
Of course.
Because then it's hard for someone to say no once they
see you.
These beautiful blues.
Well, I have an interesting tidbit about that. I had an engineer friend, a traffic engineer friend, tell me a few years ago that if more people did that, went all the way to the end of that last, that lane that's ending, that the traffic would flow better. But that part of the problem is all the people who are trying to react way ahead and move over that creates the congestion. And that that it's designed for you to go to the end of it.
Well, Lisa and I seem like we're the ones doing it right.
I will not be letting you into traffic, and I will not be letting you in, Lisa, either, as much as I love you.
But what if you and Ben were late to the Masters?
Yeah, tough. I would say we should have planned better.
Can't help it if there's some sort of...
You know me. I'm never late to anything.
That's
ever.
True. You do leave super early to everything.
Yeah.
All right. She's awesome. Official attorney of Jared and Katie in the Morning. Lisa Lanier, thank you so much. If ever injured on the job, contact her right away at hireaheavyweight.com.